We are live. This is the market update. Nvidia earnings. Do you want to stick around to find out what Nvidia's got going on the books? Is QQQ about to top? And is this little credit problem with, hyperscalers, a lot of debt, AI data center pushback going to get traded? Not the end of the world, but is it going to get traded? Did Michael Saylor get himself in trouble again? Mike, we love you. But DeFi, really? We're going to be going over alpha intelligence signals for SOXX, Nvidia, QQQ, STRC, and we will look at the mother of all Bitcoin trend lines and try and figure out what the tactical read is 13 days away from Nvidia earnings. Again, is Wall Street really going to stick around for that in August? I got to think today in stocks, it was up like 1% or more. Looked amazing. Feels like they pumped it before they dumped it. That's what it feels like. And my hope is that Bitcoin survives, that Mike survives, and it's okay. Now, speaking of Mike, his equivalent over in Ethereum, Tom Lee, here's a question. Is Tom Lee out of his mind? A lot of people just sort of dismiss him. He bought a whole bunch of Ethereum up at the top. He's got 5% of the total supply, which is a huge number. We'll discuss Fidelity's Ethereum move today. And we will answer a very simple question. When AI agents show up in crypto, who wins and who loses? We're going to bust out an old economics equation, MV equals PQ. The amount of money times the velocity of money equals the price of everything times the quantity of everything. In other words, how much money and how fast it moves impacts economic output. So yes, AI agents are going to come in and they're going to move everything really quick. But is that good for all types of crypto assets or cryptocurrencies? Who wins? Who loses? Discuss this in detail in the YouTube member area earlier today. Okay. Where we actually built a portfolio of who wins and who loses with a little bit of discussion about XRP. We will do a little XRP tonight as to whether or not XRP Ledger is set up as a winner or not a winner. And I got off the phone with the alpha intelligence guy, and the more I learned, the more I realized that A, it's the real deal. B, I got to look at it all by its lonesome. And C, you should go check it out. I sincerely appreciate all 800 people who went down and clicked the link back in the description. He put in an improved explanation sales page or sales video so you can learn more about what it is apart from listening to what we're going to do tonight. Honestly, it's pretty simple. You can look at his tactical read in an otherwise dead crypto market, but active macro market. It's a market for people who are trading with 4-hour charts. I don't think that's very salesy at all. I think that's what there is. You have 1-hour charts and 4-hour charts that you can leverage. And even if the 1-hour charts are stale and you're watching this 10 days from now, these signals and the way he uses volume and these reversal signals, which have frankly helped me replace DeMark. I love DeMark. I know y'all love DeMark, but DeMark was $200 a month and this is $50. And it's just as institutional. It's tough to beat DeMark on institutional, but this guy is scrappy. He's hungry, and this product kicks butt. And he's going to be doing tutorials, and we're going to actually bring in, I know, ready for this, shocking the world. We're going to bring in live trading and market week in review preview almost crypto lifer style, one of the guys out there I really admire. Like, this is going to be the new edge for me, especially in these markets where you really can't find a trend. Really, it's a broad range, and it has trading paradise, to be honest. So we're going to be going over those charts. And of course, I would like to remind you to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, right? Subscribe to Patreon, where we will, again, be offering customized research along with customized alpha intelligence tutorials. I had the meeting today. It's happening. We are also going to have streams in the YouTube member area. So we're going to have Cadillac training for essentially my paid community. And I think when you see these charts, they'll speak for themselves. We're also going to have PowerPoint. Which is better for the AI world, Ethereum or Solana? Intriguing, right? You know who's talking about this? Nobody. Everybody goes, well, AI agents are coming to crypto and money's going to move around quickly. Okay, that's great. So it's all going to be the dollar. It's all going to be stable coins. Like, what digital assets perform in that environment will offer some clues, but the meat was done in the YouTube member area. But don't worry, we're going to get to it. We are going to get to all of it. Now, without further ado, Nvidia. And I think they can see this on TikTok. And it's pretty simple. So these boxes are heavy volume zones where big players moved in and sold or bought. Here, obviously, this failed rally in Nvidia was what got this whole decline started. And this thing ripped up and it went right back to where the heavy volume started. And there are two alpha intelligence signals. Essentially, you're looking for a triangle in a box. There's a lot of math behind it, but that's it. And I'm sitting here looking at these two Nvidia signals. I'm sitting here looking at this, right? You got kind of a little new high going on here, and you got a lower high and like a 9-period RSI, kind of like old school simple. And I'm looking at this, and the AI I'm working with goes, yeah, you know, we got Nvidia earnings in 13 days. I'm like, oh, we want every spreadsheet jockey on Wall Street looking at their books in 13 days. Peace out. I'm going to the beach. You know what I'm saying? Like, if there was ever going to be something wrong with this hyperscaler debt trade, if there's something wrong, you're probably going to see it now. And I would not be surprised to see people exiting. People exited over here. You know, they sold this rally. Now, you know, more power to these characters if they want to make a new high. We'll never complain about a new high in this stuff, right? Great. Earnings, okay. But honestly, if the earnings are phantasmagoric, it's almost like you're buying old news. And as the guy from Alpha Intelligence said today, these gizmos help you predict the news. They got phony baloney business. If that's what they got going on, or if the market just doesn't like it. You know, maybe it's not phony baloney, but the market just looks at it and go, you know what? We don't like this. Michael Saylor did this a long time ago. He's like, yeah, I have a software company. I have a different way of accounting for how we do business. And the market was like, no. I did a 25-page paper and it said, you know what, Mike, what Mike did wasn't so bad. I wish I still had the paper. It wasn't so bad. But, you know, the market thought it was terrible and the stock went to zero. Now, Nvidia is not going to zero, but they are going to be looking into their accounting. And I don't think this is a particularly good chart, particularly with this 4-hour signal. It's a 4-hour chart. And you know what? It's on the SOXX ETF as well. So, you know, this didn't rush up into any type of volume zone, but there's a line here called VWAP, which is an institutional term for like the average price of the day. It's where they did the most business. And this obvious little technical resistance point here, they ran the stops and did the peekaboo, and then boom. And that could be a bear market rally. This right here. It could be, because this chip stuff's way overdone. Data center pushback in Texas. It's a trade. It's an idea, right? If you have, everyone looking at the geopolitical situation, but maybe this hyperscaler debt thing gets traded, because equities are the last to trade anything, right? If there's going to be an it's going to be in stonks. It's going to be late in the story. And historically, it's going to be at the end of August. If there's going to be a problem, if there's going to be a, consternation over the amount of debt that they have, yeah, they're going to do it now. And if they don't do it now and these signals are wrong, okay, whatever. That's fine. With crypto people, we don't care, right? We don't necessarily want to have some big problem over in Nvidia or hyperscaler land, because that could affect Bitcoin and STRC. Now, to round out the sort of alpha intelligence signals, you have a 1 hour QQQ top right at a heavy volume zone where this thing, topped out in June. This is the 1 hour chart of QQQ, which is the NASDAQ 100 ETF, or the big tech stocks together, if you will. Fills a gap. Big new high in price, no new high in RSI. Ruh-roh. I think these characters have gotten squeezed out, and I think if it was ever going to be vulnerable, it's going to be vulnerable either before or right after Nvidia earnings. And I wouldn't be surprised if I was at Wall Street and this rally bailed me out. I would be like, oh my God, peace out. I'm done. Peace out. I am done. Grandpa Keeter, thank you for sending a gold coin jewel. I appreciate that. All right. So again, technology. All right. Now to crypto. So we have STRC, a 1 hour chart. We have STRC, which was at 100 and then went to 74 because everyone lost their mind, right? Everyone thought Mike was going to get liquidated when that was never going to happen. And then this went all the way back up to 95 because Mike was like buying it back, doing a buyback. But there was a sell signal and it didn't do anything. And now we got two sell signals with the QQQ chart. Now, and you got this new high in price and lower highs in this RSI. Mike, and I don't know if I would have gotten into this. Really, I don't think I would have even looked at this until Mike is like, yeah, let's put STRC in Solana DeFi. I'm like, oh. Mike, I love you, man, but can't you go to the beach? Can't you go to the beach? Why are you messing with DeFi? Why? You don't got enough risk? Okay. All right. So I really don't want this to be a problem. I don't. But I also think that we have to start paying attention to this trend line. Now, all good trend lines have 3 points. 1, 2, 3. So as of now, Bitcoin is at resistance. STRC is meh. And Nvidia, if there's going to be a problem, it's going to be now. That's it. Now, of course, this is a good time to remind you that we are going to be talking about who the winners are when AI agents get here. I don't know about you. I'll live with the risk in STRC, and I'm glad Mike is going into DeFi, cringe aside. Bitcoin obviously has to break this trend line, obviously. All right. But, some of these like hyperscaler, like minor AI hybrids, they've also got the sell signal. Now, there was a stop fishing exercise today. This is iron. So we'll find out. But I think when it comes to the narrative, First of all, when it comes to the narrative, I think this is great because this is the second time I've been able to go through macro using 3 or 4 of these charts. And, as the guy said, I think there are trades to be done here. This is not investment advice, but I mean, honestly, if you do this, this is effective. It's better than DeMark. If you don't do this, even if you're long-term, you're going to have to do something tactical to make money. You can sit, that's obviously the best trade in crypto or in Bitcoin anyway. But in this other stuff, dude, these macro markets are moving. All right. So enough of that. You get the idea. Click the link. Like check. I think the guy said it's $7 for 7 days, and everybody who clicks my link gets a special $10 off a month. Okay. So, I think we need to listen and take advantage of that. Now let's go to ETH and figure out whether or not this is something good or something bad. So Fidelity is now moving to, take its Ethereum ETF and get staking rewards. So a giant bank or a giant investment house is looking to get involved in ETH staking. So I'm glad to see them participating in the ecosystem, but it is sort of funny. It is sort of funny that at the end of the day, ETH stakers and Solana validators make all the money and token holders get hosed. The validators get paid in Solana and they dump to Solana. Ethereum pays out money to the stakers, but there's supposed to be a burn for activity on the network. There's no activity on the network. There's a lot of assets on the network, but there's nothing is being moved. Now, Solana has huge transaction volume, but Solana fees are so low. Now, again, we'll go through it in a PowerPoint, but you imagine a world where instead of paying everything out to stakers, they did a little bit more burning in Ethereum. Instead of everything being completely free in Solana, what would happen if they ever raised fees? Just a little. What would happen in a world where AI agents were flinging stuff everywhere, right? Who wins and who loses, and which is better, Ethereum or Solana? We'll have the surprising answer coming up right now. I actually want to take a minute to welcome all the late night people who are here on the stream. I see somebody's got Lego Bill there. Lego Bill is coming. I've seen the draft. Gary DeHolder from Hawaii. Good evening, sir. Yav, a member, is here. Welcome. Right. Bull Runner, Mike. Hello. Good evening. Thomas Chai, TLA lover. Grandpa Keeter in the house with the coins. Good evening. Jeff Dickinson and Union Crypto here for Crypto Late Night. We are all hoping that the hyperscalers do something that trigger the next generation of assets. Because I got news for you, folks. Did you see Uncle Sugar's deficit today? You have Uncle Sugar's deficit. You have accounting issues. And you have these characters issuing debt. And all I can think about is Bitcoin. It's all I can think about. And then I started thinking about this money velocity thing. And frankly, I hope you like it. Because you know what? It doesn't make Tom Lee look as insane as he sometimes does. I think I get it now. And this is called What Would It Take? Money speed changes crypto. So AI agents, when they jump into crypto, they don't create more money. They make the existing money move faster. And only tokens that turn speed into scarcity capture it. So, you can debate that. And Judge, Jury, and Synthesizer sent a silver star, which I appreciate. Everything tonight is one question applied to one coin at a time. That was the YouTube member area, but we're going to give you some preview. So everyone's watching price. They should be watching money movement. Collateral on ETH, stablecoins on ETH, and transactions on Solana. Dead networks don't move money, right? One is moving more than ever. What would it take for your coin to capture rising velocity? This is a way to look at your bags or any new coin. So the problem is speed and AI agents do not automatically help every coin. They don't, period. I mean, this economics equation that we're about to go over, I learned it when I was 20. And now we're pulling it back out again. So what would it take? Checkable conditions. The tell, it's the one thing to watch. The formula is MV equals PQ. The amount of money that gets moved, that's M, times how fast it moves, that's V, equals economic output. What's economic output? P times Q. So when AI agents get here, the world will be a better place because you'll have money moving at massive speed, increasing economic output massively. And as economic output increases massively because of how fast money's moving around, you might get some relief from inflation. You might also get, prosperity. You might get Star Trek level prosperity. Travel off into space, have your iPad, stuff like that. You might have that before you have the Matrix or the Terminator, because velocity increases economic output. P times Q is the dollar value of everything. How nice. However, for us crypto heads, we got to do a little algebra and say, you know what? Equities guys care about the P and the Q, the economic output. But what do we care about? We care about the M, right? The money, the digital money, the tokenized assets, right? Your XRP, your Litecoin, your Bitcoin, you know what I'm saying? Your cryptocurrency. Well, guess what? Faster money means less money is needed to sit around. If a dollar is used 100 times a year instead of twice, you need far fewer dollars to run the show. So if you have V over here in the denominator, that means if AI agents start moving things faster, you don't need every form of money. You don't necessarily need every coin. Yikes, right? Now, the question is, what do you need? And we're getting to that. So just remember, a market cap is parked value, right? It's what people hold. It's not a reward for what flowed through. So a token has to reward people for holding it. Just because it rapidly moves back and forth doesn't mean anything. It's got to be parked somewhere, invested, held, staked, right? It's what people are willing to buy and hold, not just sling back and forth. Okay, here's the good news. So how do you benefit from all this fast money in crypto? Or from fast money with AI agents? All right. Speed pays anybody with a burn mechanism, a burn. So like ETH or any of these things that destroy supply based on transactions. There's verification. So like maybe your Chainlink or some sort of oracle that gets paid for every transaction that it can verify in this world where you're going to have billions of transactions. I don't even know if an entity exists off chain that could handle the volume that's coming. It's almost got to be done on some hyper fast, hyper accurate blockchain. And if it doesn't exist, it will exist. But, Chainlink comes to mind. Then you have to have locking mechanism and staking and earning fees, right? Speed makes them scarcer. And then, of course, there's collateral over here, right? If you have collateral locked on chain, like Ondo is where they have tokenized treasuries. Oops, I gave away a coin, right? You know, you've heard of Ondo, but you don't know why it's good. Or do you know, you don't even know if it's good. Is it overdone? Is it useless? You know, it's not a micro cap anymore. Well, guess what? Anything that's got collateral on it, anything that's got capital held works great and gets paid in a world of really fast transactions. So there's like, you know, identity, authorization, settlement, verification, collateral, and compute. And this is what we do in the YouTube member area, right? This is like, you know, these are Toby's classifications, you know, and we come up with coins big and small so that somebody knows, oh yeah, AI is coming and, you know, velocity of money is going to be great. Okay, well, what's the investable theme inside the digital asset world outside of Bitcoin? So ETH down 62%, but it's got $147 billion in stablecoins, and it's got $15 billion in real world assets on chain. Now, price says it's dead. Transactions per day are pathetic. Solana has 40 times more transactions. But if ETH can make an adjustment to how it burns tokens, like increase the burn and maybe give stakers a little less, don't know if that's possible, but there is a proposal, right? The more they feel the burn, the better. Now in Solana, Solana's a better business, like Galaxy Digital or Multicoin Capital. You become a Solana validator. The bigger you are, the better you are. There's a Solana treasury company that not only owns Solana, but it's like this giant validator that just sits there and gives computing power to Solana and collects bank. Now they collect the Solana and then dump it into the market. Maybe they hold it. But, you know, these models as of now are not good for token holders. However, if colossal volume shows up, you know, that could help both tokens. If they adjusted their model a little bit, it could be massively better for all these tokens. Massively. This is why Tom Lee is not out of his mind with 10,000 ETH. I mean, if they tweaked the supply and created a supply shock when AI agents hit this tape, oh my God. I mean, anybody who's been around knows what happens when ETH goes out of its mind. Anybody who was around for 2021 and watched ETH go from 400 to 4,000, they know. They know what happens when you supply shock ETH. And we've seen Solana go from 20 to 200 twice. So, and of course, there are other coins, there are other layer ones, but it may not be every layer one. It may not be, right? It may not be every coin. I mean, I'm going to be straight with you. XRP has the stable coins running on XRP Ledger. So that's going to wind up benefiting Ripple, because I think Ripple will be like a baby Circle in a way. Circle the stock, which by the way is something else that, you know, oops, I slipped another one. You know, if they don't do all this on chain, Circle will do it. So these crypto projects, and they know this, I think. It's a good thing. Competition is healthy. Okay, so, you know, whatever they don't do on chain will be done by Circle. And I really wish and hope that Ripple and XRP develop some kind of staking or burning mechanism so that XRP can get in on this. Because I just think it's a mechanism of how you structure your tokenomics. Anybody that has a burn wins. Anybody that has RWA or collateral, like, you know, we laid out the DeFi protocols that we like in the YouTube member area, right? And I'm probably going to stick the report itself in Patreon. There's like a 5-page white paper that goes along with it. And that's what we do. We put research in there, but this can help you, right? Because nobody is thinking, everyone's like, yeah, well, AI is good, or maybe people think crypto is dead. I saw 3 big YouTubers this week recently do Is crypto dead? Well, crypto prices are down, but I don't see how you can look at this. You can look at the alpha intelligence charts on Nvidia and semiconductors, and you can see that, an increase in velocity will help, at least 10 coins that, you've seen them before. It's not like, oh yeah, these are like revolutionary small caps, but all of a sudden you understand like why you would own Chainlink, or why Ethereum at 1600 or wherever it is. Nobody even, do you know where Ethereum is? It's like, it's like some sort of like public service announcement commercial. Do you know where your Ethereum is? I suspect the answer is no. People don't know and they don't care. And I understand why, of course, because, Vitalik sold it. It's dead. It's at 1800. They sold it to Tom Lee. They knew the transactions were going to collapse. Do you realize that they're putting the staking mechanism puts 1 million ETH a year in circulation, and the transaction volume is essentially zero. So, of course, Fidelity is like, oh my God, well, you want to give me huge amounts of ETH for just sitting here? Awesome. What's the yield? 2.5% or whatever it is. I was like, oh yeah, we'll just sit here and buy ETH all day at 1800. That makes sense, right? But, if there was ever a supply shock because of an increase in the network, or they changed the tokenomics a little, when I saw Fidelity wanted in, I was like, oh, okay. They want to get that Ethereum while it's good, because there is a proposal. As crazy as this sounds, they have a proposal that if a certain amount of ETH gets staked, they start burning what the stakers would get. They basically start burning everything. So if everybody goes to stake ETH, if half the amount of ETH out there is staked, this proposal would just start flat out burning ETH, meaning it's a deflationary token. And if you had that with AI agents massively ramping up transaction volume, oh my God. Not to mention all this real world asset stuff. There's a connection on this stream. If you have a problem with your private credit, your venture capital, your sovereign debt, your AI hyperscaler debt, your semiconductor, whatever, right? That's just going to lead to real world assets on chain, because don't forget, that's why the BlackRocks and all these characters want to be on chain, because they need to get liquidity for all their sludge. They're not excited about trading, they don't care about trading, they don't care about trading Micron with 5x leverage on, Hyperliquid. No, they don't care about that. They want to tokenize real estate, private equity, mutual funds, whatever. They want to tokenize the stuff that they need to sell, and they need to move it through a completely different channel. And that includes treasuries. Because I don't know how Uncle Sugar is going to borrow $2 trillion a year without both stable coins, using treasuries to back their essentially money printing, because that's how stable coins get created, or just having treasuries on chain acting as collateral for loans. Another way to expand the money supply. So, just don't forget, these things that are coming on chain, they're already on chain, then the agents are going to bring massive volume. So for anybody who's telling me crypto is dead, bro, crypto is dead. Legacy cannot function without crypto. Let me say this again. Legacy, the fixed income markets, they cannot function anymore without using crypto to expand the money supply. You drop a treasury bond in, the stablecoin company uses that to create stablecoins, and the AI agents are off running with the stablecoins, doing DeFi, buying Bitcoin, I don't know, trading real world assets on ETH, trading on Solana, internet capital markets, you name it. And everyone is acting like this is never going to happen. Oh, it's definitely going to happen. Now, is there going to be, I mean, we just had an eclipse. So it's a little creepy to see that signal in Nvidia, you know, the day after a solar eclipse. That's a little creepy for us GAN guys. Super creepy. But when all is said and done, and even if they smash Bitcoin on this trend line, like, you know, I always think the thing that everybody can see is not the thing that actually works, you know, because Alpha Intelligence put a really heavy bottom in here. So, you know, I kind of hope they blow through this. I would love that. But you have to respect it in the meantime. But I don't even care. I mean, this narrative about transaction volume on certain layer ones and about the coins that win, like the coins that win in this world are big. Like, you know, Bitcoin is not included in the list because Bitcoin is its own scarcity story unto itself. You've all heard it from me. You've heard it from Jordy Visser, a guy I used to work with. Essentially, Bitcoin is the only scarce thing in a world where AI replicates everything. That's obvious. The non-obvious AI trade was covered today in the YouTube member area, and we're doing Solana and ETH with a side order of Chainlink here. Because, again, cross-chain, any of this stuff, you know, the monetization of this process can be done with Bitcoins, and you can be sure this other economics saying from a guy who went to the University of Chicago, but was also from Lubbock, Texas, and sounded like it. He would say, the more gravy in the kitchen, the more dogs at the door. Meaning that when the big coins and the big projects start making money with burn models or DeFi or collateral or RWA or identity verification, there are going to be small characters that are going to come up and want to do this. You're going to have a whole new set of projects where the simple value proposition is we can attract agent business and our token holders can be rewarded for high velocity. And everyone's like, all coins are dead. Really? Really? Well, we got to talk to them about MV equals PQ, and we got to discuss V for victory, because this is how crypto wins. Now, every token doesn't win, but any token that can actually return value to token holders, like the way Hyperliquid does for velocity or trading, wins. Huge. I mean, you want to talk about like life-changing money? I mean, you know, this does harken back. This whole narrative, like this is the first time like I've personally spit it out. You know, we had Toby's version of it earlier, which was great. But I mean, you know, as I'm spitting this out, I almost feel like I'm going back to like 2019 Ian Bellina type stuff where he's talking about, you know, life-changing moves in crypto and a complete like the system gets rearranged, particularly in front of like Nvidia earnings. I would love to have this little twist going on, you know, like if you have something going on with Nvidia or one of these hyperscalers, you know, hopefully Saylor survives and everybody goes, you know, they don't have this problem over in crypto. They do have some weirdness, but whatever everyone thinks is wrong with STRC, you imagine the amount of debt that these characters, I mean, what did Nvidia just pull in? 500 billion. Interesting that they're pulling in all this financing. I mean, it's like 7 smaller deals put together. It's not what the headline said it was, but they're obviously pulling in all this money before their earnings come out. Now, I'm sure there's nothing wrong with their earnings, but somebody's going to pop the hood on all this accounting, as I said. And, you know, in crypto, you have tokenomics. In crypto, we've seen all of our funny business twice, but the velocity in crypto is going to pick up. It's already here. It's already happening. Agents are already transacting. We can talk about the numbers. Who cares? The numbers are going to go absolutely parabolic. And anybody who can benefit from this is going to go absolutely parabolic. We've seen ETH go nuts. We've seen Solana go nuts. And what kind of adjustments have to be made? Maybe they don't need to make any adjustments. Maybe Fidelity is going, you know what? We're just going to sit around and collect this stuff because it's going to, I don't know, like, is Tom Lee nuts? Is he nuts? I mean, he's got 5% of the supply. He was telling people it was going to 6,000 this year. That obviously didn't happen. So he thinks like he was originally saying, 9 to 12,000 by the end of this year. So that reminds me of the call for 15,000 back in 2018. He thinks ETH is at 60,000 by 2030. And 10,000 is reasonable because that makes ETH a $1 trillion network, which is what Bitcoin is today. Stated that way, it doesn't make ETH sound like a meme coin. It doesn't, right? I mean, is ETH as a network for agents that, pays token holders for velocity? That's how you have to start to look at it, right? And if they ever got the supply and demand equation right, or just volume was just overwhelming, things like ETH and Solana that are basically considered dead might not only not only would benefit the validators or the stakers, but there could be enough volume or any little tweaking to tokenomics could actually benefit the token holders. Because we know the chart sucks. I mean, Solana does try to go up, and every time Solana tries to go up, it gets smashed. They just smash it. It's the validators, right? It's the Solana. Now, Kyle Samani, I kind of like his model. He's a validator and takes the Solana and tucks it away in like a Solana treasury company. I like that. That's a good idea. He's not dumping all over the market. He's just trying to hodl it through this awful period until he can like get to the other side when they're done shaking out whoever they're going to shake out, or we're done looking into like even Uncle Sugar's books. The ridiculousness, right? Like, sovereign regulator comes out and say they want to provide clarity on crypto because they can't provide clarity at the legislative level. They say they're going to do it. Phone rings, Wall Street, whoever, and they say, no, don't do it. Let me tell you something. You know who's afraid of 10,000 ETH? Sovereigns. Yes, these characters need to distribute their sludge, but when these agents get loose, they're going to be agents that are going to be acting like on behalf of hedge funds. And then eventually there are going to be agents that are just out there acting in theory, right? I mean, we're not building all these data centers. We're not buying all these chips. What are we buying it for? What are we doing? We're going to build a better email response bot. What? We need, I don't know, it's a $16 billion deal with Riot Blockchain and Anthropic today. What? So you can have a better agent to book your travel? Come on. These things are going to proliferate and it's going to be massive. What do you think this build out is for? Whether there's a problem with the debt or not. I mean, if you ask me, I think the whole thing with the debt is stealth printing. The only answer to a debt problem is more debt, and we've discussed that. Nvidia has a problem, no problem. We'll just lend them more money. They just gave them $500 billion. Right? The answer to debt is more debt. Okay. You guys pile it on thick. If they can't crack Bitcoin, or even if they do smack Bitcoin a little bit, who cares? Who cares? Right? I mean, this got said on the stream today. Who cares? Do you think, Tom Lee's hair is going gray, and I'm sure he's getting kept up at night because he bought the high, and this is getting painful, no doubt. But if Tom Lee thinks it's going to, 12,000, he isn't going to care at 12,000 whether he paid 4, 3, 2, or 1,000 for ETH. He isn't. And I don't know about you, but I don't think anyone is talking about AI agents and how it impacts ETH. I think everyone is saying, wow, there's a lot of volume on Solana, which there is, but ETH might have a clearer mechanism to return the value to the token holders, whereas with Solana, the validators win. Now, of course, that's a controversial opinion. And I don't really care if it's one or both. It has to be both, right? Because you can't handle all the volume on the planet on one chain. But no one's making the case. No one's even discussing this at all. At all. You can't pull up the Solana chart. No one cares. You can't pull up the ETH chart. No one cares. You can't even pull up the XRP chart. I ran the XRP chart through our model. It was like, it's dead. People, it's not dead. People gave up on it. And I don't think ETH or Solana are dead. And everyone thinks Bitcoin's not going to move anymore. Okay, well, you know, you could have Bitcoin volatility as a result of whatever Saylor does. But, you know, Nvidia at this price versus Bitcoin, you know, Bitcoin's only worth 1 trillion. The only scarce asset in the world is worth 1/5 of any of these big hyperscalers. And the next phony baloney, I don't know if it's phony baloney. The next phony baloney is going to be the SpaceX Tesla merger. That's next. That, you know, we'll be streaming about SpaceX and Tesla for a month because that, you know, that's next. You know, they have their own little circular accounting going. Robots doing business with XAI, renting data center space from SpaceX, you know. They all have their stuff going on, and that's fine. They're building a better future. I'm on this stuff all day long. What am I going to complain? Right? Odd Dark is here. He got caught up on the YouTube member podcast. We appreciate you, bro. But, you know, I wanted to basically give you guys the AI agent velocity story so that if you do join us and watch that podcast and get on board before we start pouring alpha intelligence, down the pipe, because those shows are coming like imminently. I've seen enough. And this guy is like, you know, like you said, everybody went to visit the link, and I appreciate that. Go back. Go back. Because, you know, this is how we're going to make it happen. And when it turns, we'll know. Right? We won't have to sit here and guess. I mean, yes, I'm an analyst. Yes, in many ways, I'm a theory guy. But that allows me to put it into practice. I mean, let's face it. I mean, who am I out there competing with? You know, who are my colleagues? Frankie Candles, Crypto Lifer, right? Crypto Face. I mean, these guys are like, you know, these guys are like expert traders. Now, at Goldman, I did analysis for expert traders. But, you know, this alpha intelligence stuff allows me to get in the game. Okay. Judge, jury, and synthesizer. Odd Dark using the Toby and chopper pilot emojis. I appreciate that, sir. Goohee, good evening. I have been wrecked since 4/24. Well, sir, here's what I can tell you about getting wrecked. You're not wrecked because you're still here trying to learn something. The good news about me is that you learn something whether I'm right or whether I'm wrong. If I'm right, you learn something. If I'm wrong, well, you know, whatever the guy said, that's not what's happening in the world. Something else is happening, and it's probably a huge surprise. I added a lot of value. It's like, okay, Bill says this, but maybe it's something else. The super smart hedge fund characters frequently knew what the something else was. You're still here. That's the bottom line. You're still here. You're still learning something. You don't have any money? Okay. Well, 6 months from now, you might. Or 6 months from now, you may have enough money to stick a little bit of money in the game. And if you listen to Toby today, that might be all you need. Because this is like, you know, press the Ian Bellina life-changing money button. Seriously. I got to go find the token metrics music. I mean, that company in its heyday, we had everything. I swear to God, we really did. Right? It's like the idea of this is going to change your whole life needs to come back in the abyss of the bear market, especially after seeing MV equals PQ. Right? What benefits from the velocity of money, not just stable coins? Okay, yeah, obviously circles, blah, 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 blah. If you can answer this question, you are now in a zone where you're doing your own altcoin research, and hopefully you're getting it from us so we can make it easier for you. I'm going to pour this stuff into Patreon. I got a 70 slide deck. Today we did 10 out of 70. You know, and a lot of that contains the coins that are going to win. Because what do we want to do here on this channel? Win. So subscribe, hit the like button. Union Crypto says, I think ICP is one of the AI coins that no one really talks about. Bro, you know what? Your job, our job, this is a community. Our job is to go find whatever is going to move with velocity. MV equals PQ is as old as the hill. You know, I mean, I haven't even researched how old MV equals PQ was. It's a lot older than me. It was a lot older than the guy who taught it to me when I was 20. And he was old AF. He could barely walk into the classroom. But that was Macro 202, and I never forgot it. Half of what I know, I swear to God, half of what I know about macro was that class, Rutgers University, I don't know, 1990. Laughable. MV equals PQ. What's old is new again. What benefits from velocity? Congratulations. You just became an altcoin analyst if you can answer that question about any digital asset. Because if it does benefit from velocity, like a coin that was not on the list, that's interesting, that, you know, maybe Solana is not an immediate massive winner, maybe, but what about Solana restaking protocols? You know, we talked about staking, right? You know, you need market cap, you need assets under management, you need TVL, whatever it is. You need that in the velocity world to have value. What about cross-chain? What about cross-chain DeFi? Like DeFi starts becoming interesting. Like who's doing lending? Who's got collateral? I know Just Ario's, he's like the head of Clearpool, which is a coin that, you know, it's like everything else, you know, just sort of like went down and didn't do anything. But, you know, anything that's got collateral benefits from money moving around. It's not a Clearpool plug. I'm just saying we go from this is dead and I've got nothing to say, which is where I was 24 hours ago, to, oh my God, MV equals PQ and this. The alpha intelligence sell signal after a, what, how big was this rally? A 22% rally in semis in what? A matter of days? I don't know. I think I'd be giving that the stink eye. You know, I hope it goes up. I hope they have fun. Our crypto heads don't want a problem over there. We don't. We don't want a problem over there. But if there was a problem over there, that more than likely brings them to us when it's over. That brings them to us when it's over. Now, that Bitcoin trend line, you know, we're bringing it full circle. You know, I never met a crypto pep talk that I didn't like. You all notice, right? I understand what's on the chart, and I understand that basically it sucks. You know, we covered Mike, we covered Tom Lee, we covered what all these cowboys are doing. Does it make sense today? No, it doesn't. Is it dangerous? Sure it is. Mike is dangerous. All these hyperscalers are dangerous. Uncle Sugar is dangerous. 30-year yield, the 30-year bond auction that was held recently, it wasn't a disaster, but it wasn't good. People weren't like, oh, wow, 5.25%. Oh, my God. Let's lock that in for 30 years. Negative, Ghostwriter. Negative. Not happening. I mean, again, it wasn't horrible, but everybody, it lacked a notable bid. It lacked any enthusiasm for the asset class. So even if crypto gets hit, and even if you're wrecked, and even if you don't have any money, I asked Toby at the beginning of the stream, just to start a rant, if crypto was dead. I'll leave you to check that out. However, you can tell by the smile on my face that, ladies and gentlemen, crypto is not dead. It's not. Kevin says, how many times do I have to block this guy? Dude, you can't block the message. Can't block the message. You have to read the charts. You have to look at the alpha intelligence stuff, and you have to do your homework. Now, you also have to go out and find what benefits from velocity, if for no other reason, to cure the depression of this bear market, which is substantial. Substantial. I get it. But you can't let that get to you, because if it got to you in 2019, you missed DeFi. And when some machine comes online and does something, I mean, does anybody remember Fartcoin? Does anybody remember Goatcoin? Right? Does anybody remember when an AI agent that was created by a human that, I don't know, was basically like a chat bot? I don't know. I mean, antivirus guys had it with, John Online. These things existed. And people went crazy. What was Fartcoin worth? What was it? 2 billion? Fartcoin went to 2 billion. 2 billion market cap on an AI agent coin. Okay, I don't know if Fartcoin comes back, but there's going to be an agent economy on chain, right? And we act like there isn't going to be one. And it's there now. We're just not trading it because, I don't know, it's August. There's hyperscaler debt problems. It may be like the Predator movie. There's something out there and we don't know what it is. At the end of the day, who cares? Their problems are their problems. Somebody brought up FTX and how much Solana they may be holding. We've had our FTX already. We've had it. And even if they blow out STRC again, who cares? STRC and Michael Saylor is not FTX. It's not a system-wide liquidation. This market's down, what is the ETH down? 60% off the high? Come on. Where does it have to go? What has to happen? Right? It's a countdown. It's either a countdown to October, if you want to do this 4-year cycle stuff, or it's a countdown to somebody realizing that artificial intelligence is not a giant building in the desert of Texas. Artificial intelligence is actually moving and doing trades and is online and is moving money around on behalf of hedge funds or whoever. You think these characters like BlackRock are not going to have huge agents moving on chain? Oh my God. Why do you think they want to tokenize everything? They, other than unloading sludge, they want to unload the sludge, and to be less sarcastic, they want to have the agents creating markets for the sludge, right? Agent A trades with agent B, and they actually get an organized market going like that. You don't just get an organized, active, liquid market going, even in crypto. You can launch a coin. Does the coin still have value? I mean, it's Solana, right? You launch a coin, everyone trades it, dumps it, goes to the next coin. You can't even launch on Solana. You can't. And it's funny. It's funny. There was a network, which I won't name because I don't even think I've talked about it yet. I think I'm saving it for Patreon. There is a network that could massively benefit from this. Massively. I'll just leave it there. There is a network that if this velocity thing happened, you know, and ironically, like this is not the company, but like somebody like Galaxy or Circle, which I've mentioned, like the upside in some of these plays is profound. Like the upside in Circle, after what I read and researched for 2 days straight. Oh my God. So yeah, okay, you're wrecked. The market stinks. I get it. But MV equals PQ. Maybe a tattoo one day. Not now, but one day. Or we just stay away from tattoos in general, because that's we'll leave that to Novogratz. You know, Mike goes and renames the Texas Tech Stadium after Galaxy Digital. It's great. It's cool. I like it. It's football in Texas. Love it, Mike. But market hasn't gone up since. So let's not do that anymore. Okay, that is the market update for today. Please check out Alpha Intelligence. There's more coming. Please check out our paid areas. Research is the thing you need to be doing now. It was true in 2019, and it's true in 2026. We'll see you soon.